The point being is you can do this. I do use credit cards in my business, but however, I've been doing this for multiple years, and I want you to understand it can be a powerful tool, but do not let it hurt you, okay? What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Derek, aka Flippingahouse, and we talk entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and real estate investing. Today's topic is going to be related to real estate, and it's one of the age-old questions that people always want to know, and that is, how do you fund your first flip? It doesn't matter if you've been wholesaling for a while or you're new to real estate investing. I want to make this as simple as possible so that you understand that you can actually flip real estate with little to no money down, and there is a right and a wrong way to do it. Now note, what I'm about to talk about is not financial advice, and as you guys know, real estate investing can be very risky. On the other side, it can also be very profitable, but I like to focus on the risk part because real estate investing is all about protecting your downside. So what does that mean? That means that we're always looking for ways that the deal can go bad. Now, we don't plan on that happening, but if you've already looked at the exit strategies and what could possibly go wrong, you'll be better prepared. So let's get into it. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the deal itself. Now, a lot of people, when they talk about real estate investing and flipping, they always refer to what is called the 70% rule. And I'll break this down real quick for those that do not understand. Now, the 70% rule isn't something to live or die by, but I like to think of it like bowling, right? When you first get started bowling or you're a little kid, they put up the bumpers for you. And really, that's what the 70% rule is like. As someone who's been investing for almost 6 years, I can tell you that you need to be around the 70% to really make any profit. And even though you try to fudge the numbers or push it with the rehab, you'll still wish you bought it at 70%. If you don't believe me, watch some of my other videos. Now that you have a 70% deal, right, this is what is considered a good deal. We actually have something that we can take to a lender. So let's talk about lenders. When it comes to real estate investing, the lending portion can be broken into two sectors. You have what is called hard money, and then you have what is called private money. Now, they have a lot of similarities, but they also have some differences. So let's start with hard money. Hard money is that it's money at a hard cost, meaning that you're going to have a higher interest rate. There's probably some points involved and some fees. When it comes to hard money lending, the first thing that you should be aware of is what is called points. Points just means literally that, a point or 1 point or 1% of the total loan. So going back to the $70,000 example, if you had a $70,000 loan, you would have a 1 point or 1% of that, which is $700. Now, it's typical for these hard money lenders to charge you usually 2 to 3 points, meaning 700 times 2 or 3. That would be your points. Then they'll have application fees. They'll have some closing fees that'll be involved. But when you run your numbers, you want to run this all wrapped into it, so you know what your total loan of the property is, and you can start including these instead of looking at them as something that's bad or that's going to hurt your business. If you're looking to borrow millions of dollars to do this, they're going to need to make some money too. Now, I don't want you to think that is a bad thing, because that's the joy of real estate. You can create win-win-wins for the seller, for your lender, for yourself, and everyone else involved. Now, with that being said, I would recommend that you get pre-approved with a hard money lender first, then go start looking for properties. That way you're already ready to go and you can pull the trigger when you find a property. Now, it's not a bad idea to find a really good deal first. I'm just saying, if I was new, this is what I would do. One of the first properties that my business partner and myself took down, we used hard money. And to be honest, it was pretty expensive. It was a great learning lesson. But I think the biggest takeaway is to find a hard money lender who actually invests themselves. I was lucky enough at the time that a good buddy of mine worked for a hard money company, and I actually got to meet the owner, who owned hundreds of rentals and is well known in the community. Now, I say this because there are some hard money companies I know here in Houston that are a little bit more, well, let's just say they don't have the best Google reviews, and what happens is they'll get people in these bad loans, and then they will actually foreclose and take the home back. So you want to make sure that you're set up for success and not failure. Now, when it comes to private money, a lot of things are similar, and they're going to charge points. The thing is, you're going to have no fees typically, or minimal fees, and you can get more flexible. And as you grow, you will lean into finding more private lenders. I think everyone usually starts with a good hard money lender. And the beautiful thing is, as you grow as a person, the hard money company will typically get more relaxed on certain things and requirements that they ask of you. Now, when it comes to private money, like I said, will charge the 1 point. Typically, we pay 2 points and 12% of the loan. That was another thing I forgot to mention, is that on hard money, they're going to charge you a higher interest rate because the loan is typically only 6 months, whether you're using hard money or private money. The interest rate typically starts at 10 to 12%. Sometimes you can get it cheaper, sometimes you can get it for more. Like I said before, you don't want to focus on the percentage that they're charging you as much as you are the points and the fees, because that's what really adds up. Now note, both of these loans, whether it's hard or private money, they are interest only loans, meaning that you are typically only paying that 10 to 12% interest in the length of these loans. Once again, it's just part of doing business. Now, if you're curious of what happens if you go over the loan term length of, say, 6 months, say the project takes longer or a storm happens or whatever, typically they'll charge you a couple more points to then extend that loan, maybe another 3 months, maybe 6 months, depending on your lender. Private money is best when you grow because you can get a lot of flexibility. A lot of the flips that we're purchasing now, they'll give us the 100% of purchase. With hard money, it's not always the case unless you have a fantastic deal. A lot of times what they like to do is 90% of the purchase. And then when it comes to the rehab portion of it, they will do what is called draws. And what this means is they will reimburse you, but you will have to pay that first section of the rehab out of your own pocket. So I always advise anyone, if you're getting started investing, at least have around $15,000 that you can use to invest when it comes to the rehab, because you put that money out and then they will reimburse you, and then you can do it again. So if you had a $30,000 rehab, you put in $15,000, they give you $15,000 back, and then you do that again. So you don't necessarily have to have a lot of money saved, but that's why it's good to have a really good deal, because the better the deal is, the more lenient the company or private individual is willing to be with you. Now, I know that last portion was a lot of information and you may need to go back and take notes, but a lot of what I just said is very important to understand, and it will get even easier the more deals you look at and the more lenders you talk to. I think anytime you're getting started, you should always talk to 3 of anybody, whether that's contractors, wholesalers, or lenders. So just take that as a note. So we've talked about finding a really good deal, and we discussed hard money and private money, the similarities and the differences in those. But now let's talk about another creative way that most people don't even think of when it comes to flipping real estate. Now, this strategy will mainly work if you actually already own a property and have equity in it, or maybe you've purchased rentals just the traditional way of putting 20% down. Regardless, you may have some appreciation that you're sitting on, and well, you can put it to work. See, a lot of times people don't understand that you can actually get what is called a HELOC, or a home equity line of credit. So let's go back to the $100,000 home. So say you have a home and it's worth $100,000 and you actually only owe $50,000 on it. Well, that means you have $50,000 in equity. Now say you go to a bank and they will give you up to 90% of that. So now you have around $40,000 to play with. Given that they give you 90% of the value would be $90,000. You only owe $50,000 and you would have that $40,000 that you could pull out. Now, I know $40,000, you may not be able to flip a home like that in your market given the purchase and the rehab. However, if you remember, I talked about in hard money how a lot of times they will only go up to 90%. Now, if that is the case, you can then use this $50,000 to then invest the gap or the portion that the lender will not cover. You can now use that home equity line of credit to do that. Now, you can do that with a home equity line of credit. You can actually get your own personal line of credit as well if you do not own a home, so that's another option. Some people aren't willing to take that risk, and maybe your credit's not good enough, so you can't get in that option of, doing the hard money, the private money, the home equity lines of credit, the regular credit, and that's totally fine. The next thing that we're going to talk about is actually using 401ks or self-directed IRAs. Most people have, a 401k with their job or a IRA, a Roth IRA, but most people don't know what you can do is actually a self-directed IRA. Now, whether you're putting in money yourself and you have an IRA saved, maybe 100,000, 50,000, 70,000, whatever it looks like, or you know someone who does, maybe you sit down and have a conversation, or you sit down and look at your own status and see where are you at and can you roll this into a self-directed IRA. Now, they're usually charge some fees to do this, but the return that you get on doing this is infinite. The reason being is now that account of retirement money that you were waiting to use, you can actually get a higher return on it right now and over time as well. So how that works is there are companies, or at least there are here in Houston, that they will actually take that retirement account. They'll do weekly classes. They teach you how to invest. On top of that, you can invest in your own deals, or you can put that money to work in someone else's deals. So maybe you don't feel as experienced and you want to learn real estate. Maybe you find someone and they have a really good deal and you could then lend on it. But it's a good way to learn and put your money to work. So you're really killing two birds with one stone, and that's what I love to do. On top of that, you get a lot of tax benefits, and what better way to put your money to work than an asset that is actually tangible and protected and is going to go up in value over time. That's the joy of all of this. Real estate is the only asset class that continues to go up and up and up, no matter what the market looks like. Over time, it has outperformed any other asset class. Now, this last financing option is probably one of the riskiest that I could talk about in this video, which is why I saved it for the last, because I don't think it's for everyone. And if you can't manage your own personal money, you probably shouldn't do this. Just like hard money and private money, it has a high interest rate, and well, you probably guessed it, it's credit cards. Now, you're probably thinking I can't get $300,000 in credit cards, and well, you would be surprised at what you could get if you have a decent credit score. It's crazy that they allow so much money out to regular people, and most people just go into debt with it. They buy things that they don't need to impress people they don't like. But if you're a smart individual, which I'm sure you are because that's why you're watching my channel, you understand how real estate works, and it's all about leverage. Don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of Dave Ramsey, and I believe in being financially fit and financially literate. My point being is, if you want to get ahead in life, especially at a young age, I totally recommend using real estate and the leverage power that it has, because as it starts to snowball and you get in your 30s and 40s, or maybe you started later in life, you'll start to see after 10, 15, 20 years how these things stack on top of each other and the dominoes really fall. On top of that, just like the self-directed IRAs, real estate has one of the greatest tax benefits, and if you're not sure about it, just go research or hop on BiggerPockets. Regardless, like I've said before, risk is there, but if it's done correctly, real estate will save you. The point being is, you can do this. I do use credit cards in my business, but however, I've been doing this for multiple years, and I want you to understand it can be a powerful tool, but do not let it hurt you, okay? I hope this video has been super helpful for you guys, because I've used all of these financing options in one way or another, and I can tell you that they all work. The point being is, regardless, you need to get into real estate and you need to flip your first home. It's not as scary as it looks, I can assure you, as a guy who used to wait tables full time. My point being is, just get in the game and start swimming. Like I said, I've dropped 2 new videos every week, and if you guys aren't following me already, you should, over on Instagram and TikTok, as I drop daily content there. Until next time, guys, peace.